Hello and welcome to another edition of TechMarketView's View from the Top. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Georgina O'Toole. I'm TechMarketView's Chief Analyst, and I am absolutely delighted to be joined today by Ursula Morgenstern, CEO of Littlefish. Welcome, Ursula. I was looking back and I think we've known each other for 12 or 13 years, maybe. First meeting when you were UKI CEO of Atos. Of course, that was where you spent the bulk of your career, about 16 years, is that right?
18 years,
18
actually.
years, okay, 18 years. Before that, partner at KPMG. After that, President Global Growth Markets at Cognizant.
Yes.
And then you had a little mini break for a couple of years. But we couldn't keep you down, could we? You had to come back to the tech sector, and you chose CEO of Littlefish as your next role. There will be people who don't know who Littlefish is, I'm afraid to say. Let's enlighten them.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about Littlefish and also what made this the right choice for you at this time of your life?
So Littlefish is a 800 people strong IT services company headquartered in Nottingham, UK and Ireland centric. 50% of our customers in public sector, 50% in private sector. And we are really well known for our award-winning service desk. We just won another award about it. And it's really the end-user centricity, that commitment to the end-user centricity, which is really making our service desk special. In addition, we are really providing a full service stack around Microsoft technology. So that's a bit about Littlefish and why Littlefish for me.
Yeah.
After 20 years working for global IT outsourcers and having had this mini break, I was really stepping back and thinking, what do I want? What do I really want in my last step of my career, full-time career? And that was really finding a company which was fast-growing, profitable, real fun to be part of. So agility and speed was really important, but also the ability to balance health. Yes. At the end of the day, we have only one life, and health, I think, matters immensely. I just really wanted to find a role which was balancing health with a professional challenge. Yes. And that is really what Littlefish is proving to be. So.
And
really.
Actually, when you had your 2 years off, you did take things a bit slower. You took up painting. Yeah. You went travelling. And the painting got quite serious, I think, as well. So what did that time away from the corporate life teach you about things? Obviously, some of it was about health. Was there anything else? Is there anything else that you're bringing now back into your career as you progress through Littlefish?
I think the biggest change actually came through the coaching degree I undertook, because it taught me two things, which I think we should teach all leaders, and that's listening, truly listening, and asking questions. But this is what you do as a coach. You listen and you ask questions. And doing that for 9 months was a real depth experience of that. What does it really mean to listen? What does it mean to really ask good questions? Yeah. And that makes you, I think, a better leader. It also builds trust. It makes you really delve more, understanding where the other person coming from. And it has changed my style. Just the simple fact that I can sit as an extrovert in a meeting without having to say something.
Not filling the gaps.
And filling gaps. And also to know how to ask simple, open questions, which allows me to understand where the other people are coming from and helping the team to drive further the conversation which we're having about topics. That I would say is the biggest change in leadership style I've gained through that training course.
Because you've also, over the years, been a really big supporter of women in business as well, haven't you? So women founders was it Hive Foundry?
Yeah.
And also women investors through Womankind Ventures. So has that just been a personal passion of yours? And how much do you bring that to work as well, your passion for supporting women in the workplace?
Probably a personal passion in the sense of I really was my way into the private equity world, into venture capital, understanding venture capital better by helping women to get pitch ready for their investor days. And It also, on a personal level, has helped me to understand better the investment cycles companies are going through, and being able to invest in female-founded companies. Female founders only get 3% of venture capitalists. Companies who have gone through the program are actually 70% of them are successful in getting venture capitalist funding, which is amazing. And there are some amazing companies there. I'm an investor into a company, an online fashion retailer, focusing on really luxury brands, but really hand-selected. So fantastic women I've encountered through that program. And coming now from how do I bring that back into the world of working, I think, to be utterly honest, not having to talk about diversity in the way you talk about diversity when you're part of a global outsourcer is a relief.
Okay.
Because now I can focus on the individual people.
Yeah.
And really making sure that we're doing the individual right choices for women, men, and really focusing on the individual, which I think is more valuable. I mean, the evidence is showing that a lot of these programs are not working.
Exactly.
I'm not saying throwing out the water, the baby with the bathwater, but we really should think about how to make diversity really work. And for me, that is making diverse teams work, because the value of diversity comes through different ways of thinking and different ways of working. And our natural bias as humans is we want to work with the same type of people. So actually helping team leaders to manage more diverse teams would be a much better investment, in my opinion, versus some of the programs which we have seen and which have proven not to be as effective.
Okay, so it sounds like you're bringing that to life in Littlefish. So if we talk a bit more about Littlefish, delve a bit deeper, I've actually tracked the company for a very long time. Littlefish was one of our little British bachelors on our programme right back in 2012. So I had your predecessor, Steve Robinson, sat in front of me at that time. £1 million revenue company back then. He grew it to 70 million when he left a year ago. You've now brought it up to 80 million. By my reckoning, that means over that time, you've grown in the double-digit teen percentages up to 20 plus percentage points each year. You now have an ambition to take it from the 80 million today up to 150 million pounds in 3 years' time. So that's quite a big target, nearly doubling the revenue in less than a quarter of the time that Steve took to go from the 1 to the 70. So perhaps you can just talk me through what you think is going to make that possible in that short period of time.
It is clearly a moonshot target.
Yes.
And but that said, Steve probably would also say that the hyper growth of Littlefish came in the last 5 to 7 years of the company.
Yes.
Simply because they took the first 5 years of really laying the foundation. And once they made it to the Sunday Times want to watch list, that's when they really took off, or the company really took off. And we just really want to continue on that trajectory from an organic perspective, but of course supplement that with merger, with acquisitions. Clearly just organic growth. I think that is a moonshot.
So a good foundation to build from you've taken on, basically. So in your head, how much of that growth is likely to be organic versus acquisitive?
Probably could be half-half. I mean, we are half-half if you think about that. We did step back this year to really reflect on what our growth engine needs to look like. Growing a 20 million company is different from growing a 70 million company. So therefore, we have really looked at everything in the sales environment, from the sales team, the structure, the process, the systems, and really said, what will it take to grow with the same rate as an 80 million company? And that was really the investment, and we will continue to focus on that. That's really the key. As a management team, that's our key focus, to continue to drive growth, profitable growth.
Profitable growth. And acquisitions, of course, bring a whole new set of challenges. What's your experience from previous roles, and what do you think the challenges Littlefish will face during an acquisitive period of growth?
Again, I have about 10 to 15 post-merger acquisition experience myself. Atos, as you know, was a very acquisitive company. So was Cognizant. So the two have taught me a lot. And the rationale of our acquisitions is scale and skill. So scale and skill in the Microsoft ecosystem in UK and Ireland. So we're very clear in where we want to acquire.
Yeah.
You clearly never know exactly what is out there in the market. So there's always a surprise element to any acquisition or any target you're able to integrate.
Yeah.
And one of the key focus areas we have is culture. We know that we are so small. So culture, I think, matters every single time. But if the management team and us, we cannot see how we can work together and that the two companies work culturally together, then that is a red flag. And we actually are walking away in these situations from potential M&A. The other factor I've learned is ease of integration.
Yeah.
You need to have a path of where you can think, I can integrate that into the company. And that's the second factor which we're looking at. Simply, again, knowing that we are small, it has to work. We want to make it work. We want every acquisition to be value additive and not value destructive, and that's really where our focus is.
Okay, just picking up on one thing you said there about culture.
Yeah.
Is it easy to describe the Littlefish culture?
It's a low ego culture. It's a very can-do culture. It's a low level of politics, extremely low level, and it's more what can we do? What do we need to do to get things done? And that's really, it makes it a pleasure to work in. I mean, most people, we have a fairly senior people coming from other players in the industry, and all of us stay because we think it's such a great culture to be part of. It's our whole focus can be on how do we make things happen and removing obstacles. You don't have to spend your day removing obstacles.
So culture, more of an internal thing. Brand, obviously external.
Yeah.
Very much linked often. And I understand you're going to evolve the Littlefish brand. I think evolve is the right word. It's not a massive change, is it? Littlefish to Littlefish Group.
Yes.
I mean, I know in the past, Littlefish has been very proud in the market to punch above its weight. That little fish in a big ocean kind of story, beating the global SIs on certain contracts. So what's the rebrand trying to do? Is it trying to get that message across a bit more, change market perception a little bit of what Littlefish is?
It's about clarity and accessibility, if I actually phrase it like that. It's not about changing the market perception in the sense of we are now a big fish. Our customers, our employees love the Littlefish brand, and they want to stay with the Littlefish. But we want to be more clearly explain about what we're doing. The official brand is actually Littlefish Managed IT Services, which is really not what we are today anymore. It's IT Managed Services is a third of our business. We're also doing cyber services, digital services, data, AI, and we really want to lay out to the company what we're doing. Storm in Ireland is retaining its brand. It's a 30-year-old company. So the group is just probably wanting to express that we are more than managed services. We also, from a color perspective, visual brands are clearly always something employees can be very emotional about. That said, we just know that with the current accessibility laws, we need to evolve our brand to be a bit easier to read.
The orange
White
is going.
on orange.
Orange
is here to stay.
Orange is staying,
but not to the same degree.
Okay, because we've got a lot of orange going on here today. We're on brand. Okay. So just looking at the strategy in a bit more detail, you're going, I believe, to now focus down on 3 verticals specifically. They being health, energy and utilities, and financial services. So perhaps you could just talk us through what the logic is behind focusing on those 3, where you see the biggest opportunities ahead, but also what's happening outside those verticals. So I know, for example, you've got quite a lot of business in central government, just as an example.
So again, part of this stepping back and looking at our growth engine, it was clear that to be more successful with larger deals and to continue to go after the work of the usual suspects. We know we needed to build, have a business development function, a function which goes out and develops long-term relationships ahead of a procurement.
Yes.
And we clearly needed to, being a mid-sized company, we needed to be really clear on where we want to focus. And we chose health, energy, utilities, and financial services because we have already traction in those markets, and these are clearly attractive markets for a variety of reasons. We believe they also fit well with what Littlefish can offer. Health and energy and utilities often look for UKI centric service desk or service which is secure in a regulated environment, and that is clearly what Littlefish has to offer.
Yeah.
So it was both a presence already in the market, a fit which we believe with our customers, but also these are very interesting markets. All of these, you know better than I do what's going on in those three markets.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we're not continue to work with public sector and private sector clients. It's the investment in the business development will be more done through our partner ecosystem. So we have been building strong relationships with partners to essentially help us to broaden our go-to-market reach.
So what's the split at the moment between direct and via partners in terms of revenue?
I would say in the past, Littlefish has been mainly direct.
Mainly direct, yes.
And it is really in the last half year that we have been really pushing the partnership agenda and really building, having 3-4 really core partners with whom we will go to market.
Okay. And let's take each of those verticals in turn. So health, you've done some significant things there already. Yeah. So I know, for example, that you've just won quite a major contract for you guys, and that's SOC. You're also in the process of recruiting from the health sector, so an ex-CTO. So that does show, like you're saying, huge investment in growing your vertical specialisation. But I just wanted to maybe get to grips with what that means to you. What does industry specialisation mean? Because we hear it a lot from companies. And often it's thrown around, and all it means is like we've got a handful of clients in that sector. But it does sound like it means a lot more to you when you say sector specialization.
I was actually listening to a debate amongst CEOs 2 weeks ago about exactly the same topic. What does sector verticalization actually mean? And for me, as an IT services company, it means domain expertise, having people who really understand that sector. Yeah. And it's not only the people we have hired. We actually, our head of cybersecurity services has, for example, a health sector background. So it's really having people who understand the systems, tools, and ways of working. If I just think about a service desk for a hospital, it doesn't work in the same way, or it can't work in the same way as an office service desk. Devices are, it's not like in an office where I have my laptop and there is a one-to-one link between the person calling and the device. It's also the shift pattern. So just simply you need to understand that the service is delivered in what context they are delivered. Often they have different systems and solutions, which again, if you have an understanding of those, that again is helping customers to receive a better service. So domain expertise is number one. And often that leads automatically to a tailoring of the service. Okay. And I'm really just emphasizing tailoring of a service. And clearly, once you're doing business applications, AI solutions, if you understand the context of those, it really helps. Clearly, having the right certifications from a regulatory perspective, from a sales perspective, being on the right frameworks, all of that matters. For me, there is a line which we will not cross when it goes into solutions and building solutions, where I think you move from IT service provider to software provider. Okay. And I have seen too many solutions being developed by IT services provider where you then don't put the right investment to keep those alive. So from a personal perspective, our line is we are an IT services provider. We prefer to work with software partners.
Yes.
And we know that Microsoft is heavily investing into verticalization at the moment.
Yes, very much
We
so.
prefer to go down that route versus we're saying we're really building our own solutions.
But you will tailor your services, so your managed services, for example. Will you brand them for each sector, or
No.
They'll just know from the conversations you have with them that they're tailored to them. Okay.
And again, I was listening to that debate, and I at that CEO roundtable, and some IT services customers will label it, others won't, and I think from our perspective,
sometimes you can be over-branded with too many brands flowing around. Yeah,
I think there is maintaining a simplicity in who we are, what we're doing is easier for our people and our customers to understand.
Okay, and then you've got energy and utilities. So we know from the research we've been doing that it's a fascinating sector at the moment. All sorts of things driving the agenda, from Clean Power 2030 through to the digitalisation agenda. Do you see those sort of big picture initiatives are they driving a different kind of demand for IT services in that space, or what do you see as the key drivers for your clients at the moment?
On the starting point, it's the same in this sector, like in health. Customers really looking for a great service for their people, delivered out of the UK. So security considerations clearly play a big role, and therefore a UK-centric modern workplace service desk is one of the offerings which we have been positioned successfully with those customers. And clearly, at the event, actually became very clear at your event, but also our customers are telling us that operational resilience, i.e. cyber and cybersecurity, is really key. So again, investment into cybersecurity is, we are seeing our customers being interested in that.
Yeah, I mean, we even heard some organisations saying that if you had any element of cybersecurity within an offering, it will get through the budgetary process so much quicker, because some of the organisations are spending 60% of their IT budgets on cybersecurity. So, massive investment for them.
I mean, that's national critical infrastructure, and the attack levels are extremely high.
Yes.
So,
And then financial services, obviously your old organisations that you've worked for will have big plays in those spaces, as will all the global SIs.
Yeah.
So what do you think Littlefish brings to the party how can you differentiate in that space?
We clearly respond well to customers who are UK headquartered, or where you had divisions of global customers who have worked with my old employers and saying we want something more bespoke and more different. Because to a certain extent, we can adapt easily to the customer demand. So we can provide 24/7 coverage in addition to the team of the customer. So we can become part of the IT team of the customer in a way that you wouldn't do as a big global outsourcer. And therefore, in that sense, it's that personalization, that customization, which customers are looking for. One of our customers is a division of a large global insurance company, and they just needed a cybersecurity service provider, and they didn't want the usual solution, and therefore that's where they came to us.
Okay, so you're looking across the board at financial services as well. It's not your insurance, retail banking, wealth management across the
But
piece.
again, are we the right service provider for global 24/7 heavy duty?
No, it's more likely a tier 2 or
So that's why, not necessarily tier 2, but a unit which is really focusing on the UK and Ireland, and therefore is looking for that match.
Yes, okay. We've talked a bit about the type of services you provide. So you've got IT managed services, cybersecurity, data and AI, digital workplace, digital, etc. Data and AI, that's quite embryonic for Littlefish so far, although I think it's a reasonable proportion of your revenues now, isn't it? You just talk about where you're going with the data and AI story.
I look at data and AI from three things. First of all,
everything.
how we are working at Littlefish is clearly one question. The other one is, how is data and AI and automation included in every service we're doing, service desk, cybersecurity. And then we have a standalone data and AI practice, which really exists so far only in Ireland. It's a team of 7-8 people.
Okay.
And has been actually in existence for a long time. And this is clearly the team which we want to grow. We just hired our first expert in the UK.
Okay.
So again, that's a growth area for us. We want to, on one hand, build on our expertise in cyber security, where we have a really good footprint in the UK already, and information security, and making sure you're not losing your data is combining cybersecurity and data expertise is one area. Fits also very well with Microsoft's Purview and Fabric direction. So that's one area of growth which we are really driving forward.
And obviously AI itself is heavily impacting some of the services that you provide across the board for your competitors as well, from service desk automation through to AI-enabled operations. So to do that, you're really sometimes eating your own lunch, aren't you, so to speak? How are you approaching it as a company?
And we clearly are embracing it, but I'm looking at it again at different levels. So first of all, we're trying to do AI staying true to our values. If our differentiator in the market is that we are end-user centric, that we are agile, that we are close to our customers, how do I use AI to make that happen?
Double down on that.
To double down.
Yeah.
I don't want to become an unpersonable service, but you can use AI to really personalize the service by either providing our service desk agent with more information or actually making the self-service for the customer even more personal. That clearly, and that's really where we are trying to think really hard. How do I make AI relevant in our value system? And so we have been, like everybody, investing in it, making sure that everybody is trained, that the management needs how to use it. And we're seeing these productivity gains, which you describe as coffee.
Coffee break moments.
Coffee break moments, because of course they make us all more productive, but the huge business case might not be there yet. And there are some really disruptive use cases which we know exist in our industry, in our service spectrum. But for those, we also realized, like many of our customers realized, we need to do a bit more prep work. Is our data in the right format? Have we actually automated everything we need to automate? And is our processes simple and easy to use? So we're doing a lot of that work at the moment, getting ready for the more disruptive use of AI. And I think I would say most of our clients are having the same experience. 70% of corporate data is unstructured data. And that's where our having a SharePoint practice and SharePoint expertise is really of value, because one of the things one needs to do, not only Littlefish, is really looking at what do we have on SharePoint and how do we make that AI ready?
Yes, but your comment about automation, and actually there's a lot of organisations have still got a lot to do with you almost talked about them as like old technologies now, don't we? Traditional AI or intelligent automation. There's still a journey to go on that before you even get to Gen AI or agentic AI or whatever the next trend is.
And what I always say to my team, I as a CEO or a business leader do not care how you solve.
The tech doesn't matter, does it?
What you're using. I want better information. I want to have smarter working environment. I want to be working less fragmented, have a less fragmented work. How you solve that problem, I really don't mind.
Exactly.
If agentic AI can help with that, great. But I essentially look at a solution to my problem. And
Yes.
that is, and again, what we're seeing in the market, nobody's coming out and saying, I want to have an AI solution. They're saying, I have a business problem. How can you help?
Yes.
And could AI possibly help with that as well?
Indeed. Now, you kind of talked about this human plus AI element and how you best structure that. But actually, that's quite relevant to another piece of strategy in your business, if I want a better word, in terms of whether you go offshore or not. Because you want to be close to your clients, but also you want to remain competitive. So are you moving forward with a more of a hybrid model for your business?
Our customers are coming to us because they want something different. So they want something agile, people-centric. So we never want to forget that. And reality is we are already serving customers globally. Our service desk is 24/7. Our SOC is 24/7. And there is actually limit. And with customers growing outside UK borders, they want strength around that 24/7, where there are limits to how much you can do that in the UK. And that's why we have started working with a partner in South Africa to really provide that extended coverage the Littlefish way. So we have chosen a company which is willing to adjust to our ways of working so we can provide our customers with the experience we want. And that's really, we have our first pilot customers is already live and more to come.
Okay, and the Littlefish way seems to be a common trend. I've felt through the conversation. There's a way of doing things that kind of guides the way you take the company.
Yeah. One of the debates we had is, could you avoid offshoring and you just do AI instead? Because that is one of the discussion points. And we reached the conclusion needs to be both at this point in time. That said, simply because one of the things we don't talk about when we talk about AI, what does the customer environment need to look like? Because AI assumes access to customer technology, infrastructure, but also data. And is the customer ready? And we think one of the reasons why AI will be slower than currently talked about is because this integration between service provider environment and customer environment needs to be considered as well.
Yes.
And that's a conversation which we are starting with our customers. What do they actually want? What are they actually looking for?
I was having a similar conversation the other day that I think the supply side is moving more rapidly than the demand side. Every CIO I talk to is not as ready to adopt AI within their businesses as the supply side would like them to be. But yeah, so I think there's rapid developments in technology, but not necessarily the same speed of willingness to adopt in the end user organizations.
Yeah, and we know if we are chosen because we are very employee centric, they would want to know that we will continue with that. And some people like to self-serve. And other people like me like to hand over my laptop and saying, here you go, please solve it for me. So again, allowing a service or giving our customers choice for these different type of services, I think, is what drives us.
Yeah, okay. And I just wanted to revisit the M&A strategy again. You went into it in a bit of detail earlier, and I think you talked about both capability and scale, but sticking to the UK and I. Is that did I get that right? Okay.
Yeah.
And are there particular gaps you're looking to fill in terms of capability?
I mean, cyber is one area where every company at the moment likes to scale further. So if we find the right assets and the right targets, definitely one. Data, AI, modern workplace. In that sense, we have some areas where we would like to strengthen our Microsoft footprint, and that is the areas we are out in the market and looking for. But sometimes it also depends on what is out in the market, and
timing,
that's kind of
value,
a bit
valuations.
and that all kind of is always a bit of luck, I think, involved in that.
Well, considering everything we've talked about, all the things you're focusing on, rebranding, vertical focus, potential acquisitions, offshore expansion, You're looking remarkably relaxed, Ursula, to have all this on your plate. There's a lot of moving parts there. So in terms of the sequencing of those, is it actually it is all happening at once? Okay. If there was one thing that you would say, we have to get this thing right this year, what would it be?
For us, it's growth.
Yes.
And that is, therefore, probably I would put verticalization under that banner as one of the things which really needs
you think that will propel you fastest?
Yeah.
Okay.
That said, we're doing it all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything is really not everything of this change is a revolution. Some is kind of evolution.
Yeah.
Others are, it's not impacting every staff member in the same way. And the other thing is, Littlefish has always been moving very fast, so the company is used to agility. That said, even we had feedback that we needed to really look at how we are communicating change and doing change management. So we have now, I'm chairing a weekly core team meeting about change and communication, and we are just really looking at what we're doing and making sure we are communicating that to the right people. But yeah, at the end of the day, the company can move fast, and this is really what makes it a fun place to be.
You do realise you have to manage it carefully, like you say, and take the people along with you. And talking about taking people along with you, you're PE backed.
Yeah.
So what are the expectations from the investors? How much are they influencing your decision making, and what are there specific milestone pressures that you're facing?
So our investors are now halfway through the investment cycle. So clearly thinking about exit is one of the topics, and like every CEO, one has to think about what is relevant for the investors. What I enjoy about the PE-backed world is that it's not as quarterly driven. Of course, hitting your quarterly numbers matter because that's a sign to the exit path, but it's not like the same maneuvering you have to do when you work in a publicly listed company where quarterly results impact share price. So it's really thinking about the exit in 2 or 3 years' time. Mm-hmm. Where do we need to be by then? What is it the most value creation? And that involves looking at what potential buyers might be valuing it in the company, and profitable growth is one of the key drivers in the PE market. And therefore that clearly is why growth is the number one focus area for us.
Hence all the many levers you're trying to pull at once. Okay. So just coming back to your leadership style, Ursula, I've always been in awe of your achievements. You've achieved a lot over your career. You've led thousands of people across Central Europe at Atos. Now you're going to the other end of the scale. I know 80 million, there are smaller businesses, but 80 million is small in comparison. So I'm just curious to try and understand from you what you see as different, maybe what's harder or easier in each scenario that you've faced. What surprised you maybe at turning up at a smaller company?
What surprised me, how much I'm enjoying it.
That's good.
That is really, really surprised me because, many people warned me coming from running a, $3-4 billion, US dollar business going down to an 80 million, will I struggle? And coming into the company, you can see all the opportunities, and it's really exciting to think I can take the company there, the agility of the company. You don't have to think about how do I make 13 workers' council agree to this change, or how do I get, 100,000 people going along in that direction. Change can be done much faster. The depth and breadth of knowledge in the organization is, of course, not as given. And therefore, you end up doing more myself. If I look at Atos or Cognizant, I was spending my whole day more or less in meetings, having a chief of staff, a team of strategists and communication people, cleaning up behind me, if I phrase it, a bit flippantly. Now I have to do my own work. I have, the person who writes the strategy, is me. The person who writes the communication and change management is me. So I'm now spending my day, 50% of my day in meetings, and the other time, 50% working, which is bizarrely energizing. So,
I'm sure.
So again, it's this much more hands-on, helping people to understand how to make things happen. Having worked for 30 years in the industry and having seen many things, for me, some things are really simple and clear, but not necessarily for people who haven't been there. And therefore, it's much more hands-on, I would say, which is where you have to also learn what's possible, because, the time is, there are only 24 hours in the day, and therefore, what do you focus on?
I mean, I often wish there were more than 24 hours in the day, but you have a podcast as well, don't you, called Positively Hybrid?
Yes.
So that sort of tells me something about the kind of work environment that you think suits a modern world, I suppose, and probably also supports female workers as well, I'm guessing. Is that what that tells me about the sort of work environment or the future of work that you see?
I mean, from my perspective, hybrid, I don't know any other world of working other than hybrid. So for me, hybrid working is here to stay. And Bettina, my co-host, and me decided we wanted to really talk about what do we need to learn as leaders and managers to work successfully in hybrid versus we all have to come back to the office. And that was for us. We want to have that dialogue with our guests about what can we learn about working more effectively as leaders. One of the very depressive statistics, about only 50 to max 30% of managers are being trained in how to lead in the hybrid world. And CMI actually has done a study, and which has shown the moment you train managers and leaders how to manage hybrid, the results are immediately improving. They're more confident of managing performance. They're confident to engage their employees in the right way. And it's really interesting that we as business leaders are not investing into hybrid training, something on our to-do list for next year. Because again, in Littlefish, like in most companies, we haven't. The conversation often is only how many days should we be in the office, but what do you then do in the office? So we spend reorganizing the times and days when our people should come back together, how we are sitting together, simply because we had a dialogue about what do we want the office to be. And that is, I think there's more conversation we could have as business leaders about how we make that actually work.
Great. I mean, as you know, we don't have an office at TechMarketView, so perhaps I should do your course. Now, I don't know what you do in your podcast, Ursula, and if you've watched the View from the Top podcast, you'll know that we've tended to be finishing with a rapid fire round.
Feel free.
So the idea is you just give me one word or one sentence at the most answer to these questions. Are you ready?
I am ready.
So, what's the most valuable lesson from your time as Atos UKI CEO that you're consciously applying at Littlefish?
Culture. Don't try to change the culture of a company.
Okay, work with it. Okay. Biggest surprise in your first year, something you didn't expect about either the company or your role?
I did not expect, honestly, how much I was enjoying to be back in full-time work. And I find it so exhilarating of what AI is doing to the world of working. That astonished me how much I'm enjoying this.
Okay. When you're painting, if you have time for that these days, do you lean towards technical precision or creative expression? And does that tell us anything about your leadership style?
Creative expression. And I always like to look at the big picture and make sure that the big picture, the company is working. And I only go into the detail when something is not working.
Absolutely.
So I'm really
Management
more
by
big picture.
exception.
Yeah, big picture leader.
And if you weren't running Littlefish, what would you be doing today?
I would travel the world.
Good to hear. And lastly, what's the one key thing about Littlefish that you would like people to go away with from this podcast today?
We are a fantastic people-centric company with outstanding end-user-centric service.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Ursula. And thank you to all our viewers. That was another View from the Top podcast, and we'll welcome you back again soon.